I'm Sherelle Francis, and for all of you watching live, I am so glad that you are here. And for those of you who will watch the replay, I am so glad that you have decided to even join us on the replay. So, happy Dr. Martin Luther King Day. We definitely want to get started. And I just want to say if you are working today, if you have the holiday off, wherever you might be, I hope you get a chance to just enjoy and share this holiday and get a chance to reflect and really remember what the day is about. Yesterday was actually Dr. King's true birthday. He was born on January 15th, for those of you who may not know. And so I'm pretty glad that we get the chance to celebrate his birthday and the holiday in close proximity. So I wanted to take time today to introduce myself very quickly. I am the owner of the iLeap group and Leap for Taking a Jump. And we wanted to share with you today why we want to celebrate his legacy and his memory and what we do. We help connect minority serving institutions, HBCUs, HSIs, all encompassing TCUs and businesses and community partners with actual transformation projects, resources, but our focus is closing the digital divide by means of broadband, cloud, network security, and partnering to make sure that our institutions become the center of excellence in their community. So today we just want to, if we just share and really pose the question, what would Dr. King do today if he were a part of this fourth, some say fifth industrial revolution and digital innovation and transformation? What would he think about it? I believe and know that he was a maverick. He was an outlier. He definitely was a change agent, a change maker. And I know one of the popular things we're talking about right now is Chat GPT. So we can't have a conversation about technology and not talk about Chat GPT. So we will definitely talk about that also. But I wanted to make sure that we just have a conversation really quickly about what would Dr. King think. I mean, what would his position be? He was a man full of courage. I would have loved to live during his time. But we know that he evoked courage and he evoked peace. And so, with innovation and technology and education, I just want to know, what do you think he would do? How would he support? What would his messaging be? So, when you get a chance, drop your thoughts in the comments and share with us. I want to support educators today. We want to especially say thank you for all that you do to the faculty, the staff, administration. We know spring semester has kicked off in most places. And so, this is a conversation we want to have today. Here's something Dr. King said. Yet, in spite of spectacular strides in science and technology, and still unlimited ones to come, something basic is missing. There's a sort of poverty of the spirit which stands in glaring contrast to our scientific and technological abundance. I think that is amazing that he said these words somewhat 50 years ago because it still stands true today. He said there's a sort of poverty of the spirit which stands in glaring contrast to our scientific and technological abundance. So today we have even more advancement, tools, and opportunities in technology. But he said there's a poverty in the spirit. So, how is it that we grow in actual technology, but we have a poverty in the spirit, right? So, how are we leveraging innovation and technology in our education? We have all of these vehicles, all of these tools, but he said there's a poverty. Do we agree? Is that still existing? I wonder. So I would really like to have that conversation. I'd like to know your thoughts. Are we having an actual poverty in the spirit, in the person? Are we getting further away from each other? Are we losing our touch? Or is technology bringing us together? Are we having a chance to get closer, if you will, because we actually do have technology? We do have these tools. We have our TikToks, our YouTube, our LinkedIn, our Facebooks, our Instagrams, Twitch, all these tools that can be utilized. How are we leveraging them with education? And what would Dr. King say? That's my question today. Would he use them? Would he support it? Would he endorse it? This is not for argument's sake, but how would he use it? How would he support it? Knowing that he traveled across the world to get his message across, I think that he would. I think that he would use it intelligently. But I found this quote so striking because he said, we've made strides in science and technology, but there's a poverty in the spirit. And so, as we celebrate his memory today, I think about this with iLeap Group because we always talk about working with the community and leveraging and partnering. So, how do we use innovation and technology, support our leaders, our administration, our faculty, and our students, and get advancement and not lose the human connection? You know, Dr. King was so great. Some of his best speeches, his best sermons, we received that while he was in prison cells, while he was in hotel rooms, while he was away or, put off because of all of that he was going through. I begin to wonder about our educators, our teachers, our CEOs, our CIOs. And I say CEOs because a lot of the CEOs now today are becoming, in some ways, a CEO. They have to work in this space of operations and technology. So if you're CIO, if you're a provost, if you're academic affairs, if you're a partner, if you're a business leader at a company and you support education, how are you seeing technology innovation in the school system, in education? What would Dr. King say? This quote we're talking about is really powerful because he said there's so much scientific and technological abundance, but the spirit of the person. How do we make sure we keep encouraging and stay connected in such often disconnected times? I think it's exciting because we get to use technology and research to be better. He also said the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. Intelligence plus character. So we have this conversation about followers, likes, views. How do we maintain character? How do we become innovative? And so he puts in front of us intelligence plus character. I mean, honestly, when we go live, when we post, when we take all of this in the social world, how does this really work with innovation and education? What would Dr. King say? Would he watch and ask how many followers, how many people heard my speech? Would he wonder how much reach he was having? What effectiveness he was having? Would he gauge his effective factor, if you will, by how many followers or how many likes and shares he was having? I wonder how Dr. King would actually measure his effectiveness. I wonder if he would measure it by how many subscribers he has, how many likes and shares, or if he would measure it by the change he would see in the communities, if he would measure it by the impact, by the children, by the education, by our test scores, how we were treating each other. How would he actually see his impact? Here's something that is really amazing to me about education, innovation, and technology. We now have this post pandemic, some say mid pandemic experience with our education, right? Cloud computing. We have cybersecurity is just a different look, and we have so much access and hybrid, right? This is what we always talk about, especially in iLeap Group as a Microsoft partner in technology. What we know is we have so much access to technology, and we were catapulted into this remote working. The world seemed to have shut down. And I think about Dr. King. He literally graduated when he was 15 years old. He went off to Morehouse College. He graduated from there with his BA in sociology. At 19, he was already at BU and then actually graduated at 26 with his PhD. Literally by 26, done, PhD, and not half of the innovation and technology that we have today. I can only imagine if he had access to all that we have today with hybrid learning, remote learning, being able to be a global student, how much he would have gotten done then. So I wonder what he would have taken advantage of. I wonder how much he would have had access to back then. I believe he would have supported and endorsed all of the innovation and technology. And then I also think about data and privacy policy, how that would have been a part of his conversation. But I believe he would have embraced, I believe he would have been excited, and I believe he would have endorsed and encouraged collaboration. I believe he would have been excited to share with other countries and other fellow men about the opportunities of technology. I believe he would have supported innovation in a great way. Now, some are saying, what about AI, Chat GPT, open access? I can't speak on his behalf, but I think it's a good conversation to have. I would love to know your thoughts. Put your questions and comments in. Let's have a conversation about it. What would Dr. King have thought? What would he have supported? What would he have had pause about? We all know that there are goods and negatives with anything that we have in today's world. And there's things that we have to question and put guarding around, if you will, parameters. But I believe that the good outweigh the bad. I think one of the things he would have really embraced is the way that we're able to have this duality in learning. Our young people can achieve certifications while they also pursue their degree. They can explore all of the opportunities in what we used to call MIS and IT. You have cloud computing, you have development, you have engineering. There's so many areas that they can explore while also pursuing their degree program. I think he would have been intrigued by all the research and development programs that we have. I think he would have been excited to see all of the opportunities in research and development that have come along so far, and the funding and the infrastructure projects. But I think what he would have been so proud of today is the collaboration, the projects that are coming together, how the colleges and universities are working with corporate America, working with community organizations. And that's who I would love to hear from today. If you are a leader from a corporation, a small, medium business, an enterprise, and you are also working with higher education or working with programs or projects, accelerators, initiatives, we want to hear what you're working on, what you're doing in innovation technology, how you are a part of higher education or K through 12. I just want to engage that community today because they constantly give and work with our future generations. And if nothing else, Dr. King always shared with us about the future. He always shared with us about his hopes and dreams for his four children. We all recite and know his speech, but when we really think about education, it started with him, with his mother making sure that he had a path to education. And so we know that education unlocks the keys to so many opportunities. So I would love to hear how you are sharing in that road, in that path, and how that helps. We would like to know your ideas about innovation and technology. What's the next? You might have some great idea. You might have a thought or position. What would Dr. King think about robots in classrooms, robots in the lab? I think he would be intrigued by how we're leveraging that and how we're still able to stay connected. I think what he would want us all to make sure is that we're not losing the human touch. He says making sure we don't have poverty of the spirit person. That means making sure that we stay connected and that our character is intact. And I think the beauty of technology and innovation is we always have a chance to be collaborative, to work together. Are you working together? When's the last time you really had a chance to be collaborative in a project? When's the last time you had an opportunity to look to your left or to your right, be it on remote, Zoom, Teams, or however you're using a collaborative tool nowadays, and say, what's your thought? What's your idea? What do you think? That's the beauty of technology, also, right? It doesn't matter. For the most part, we're not limited by location. Even right now, we're streaming and we get to collaborate. So I want to share with you this quick 15, 20 minutes. I wanted to just jog your brain as we have this day off. Most of us, not all, have a day off thanks to Dr. King and his diligent commitment to his purpose, which was to evoke freedom for all. Some would say we were already free, but he knew we were not. We were fighting a fight that seemed endless, and he was committed to his purpose. And now we have innovation and technology constantly changing. And what I want to say today is I believe Dr. King would be most proud of the advancements we've made, but what can we do together as a community to continue to support education? And by that, I mean the teachers, the leaders, faculty, administration, provosts, CIOs. These are the ones who are behind the scenes often that have to make key decisions to make sure that our future generations are able and equipped to go out into the world and continue to build our future. I believe Dr. King would be on the front lines of innovation and technology. I believe he would be at the top of Capitol Hill, making sure that every bill that was endorsing dollars and funding for a better education system, better funding, better infrastructure that supported these areas of technology, research, and innovation, he would be on the front line, if you will. I believe he would support cloud computing. I believe he would support data privacy. I believe he would support research and development. I believe he would support HBCU set aside, MSI dollars, all of this. I believe he would support student loan debt reduction. All of this is a part of innovation and technology, in my humble opinion. I would love to hear your comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. I want to say thank you to those who are contributing in this area. This was important to me today, to take a pause. This holiday that we have here in the United States of America is because of Dr. King's sacrifices. What we do at iLeap Group is partner with higher institutions of education, community partners, and businesses to ensure digital transformations take place and are partnered with other technology companies so that our institutions can be the community center of excellence. This is important to me because going through the pandemic, I personally encountered with my daughter at that time, who was 7 years old, an infrastructure crisis. We didn't know we still had to fax homework to some of her teachers because they lived in areas where their broadband access was poor. We lived in a nice area, but still infrastructure was the issue, the foundation. This impacted her education. And I began to realize we weren't the only ones. This was widespread. And I'm sharing this with you because it's important for you to know why we do what we do at iLeap Group. And I have to say, one of the companies that just did so much to help during that time, the company I work for, Insight, amazing. I saw so many companies pour out. They were partners. We understood these are the things that Dr. King stood for. We saw companies like Microsoft, like Google, like Amazon, small, medium sized businesses from all over come together and help our young people. But what I begin to realize is that if we don't collaborate, we don't work together, have these conversations with our educators, with our faculty and staff, and say, how can we serve? It's our children who will really, really miss out. So, the reason we did this call conversation live today was to say thank you to all of you who contribute every day, not just the 8 or 9 months our children are in school. Secondly, we wanted to talk about what would Dr. King say and think, how would he be a part? We know he was a man of courage. He supported innovation and technology. We started off with that amazing quote, right? So there was no doubt back then he said that we had to invoke intelligence plus character, period. But he also told us that there was an abundance of science and technological abundance. Abundance of it existed. But we did not want to have poverty of the spirit, right? And the third thing I want to remind everyone, we had this call today because we're celebrating Dr. King. Most of us have a holiday today. The children around the country have a holiday today because of all the sacrifice he made. And I don't want to forget the sacrifices. Shame on us. So I say this unapologetically. Thank you, Dr. King. Thank you for your sacrifices. For the men and women who stood beside you, we say thank you. To all of you who shared in this live today, who will watch the replay, thank you so much for spending this 22 minutes with me for this moment today. I thank you. I thank you for sharing. And I want to say I'm Sherelle Francis, founder of the iLead Group. We are so glad to share in your journey. If there's any way that we can help you, please feel free to click the link under my name on my page. We'll be glad to share with you and help you solution how you can have an amazing transformation or an assessment and help you be the center of excellence in your community. We enjoy today this conversation. Be sure to leave your comments in there. And as I leave out, I want you to think about Chat GPT, right? What would Dr. King ask Chat GPT? I really wonder, like, what question would he ask? He was such a bright and intelligent man. What would he throw into the Chat GPT? I want you to drop in the comments what you think he would ask Chat GPT to do for him. Thank you so much for sharing with me today. If you're watching the replay, feel free to drop in your comments and make sure you share this live with others. Have an amazing Monday on behalf of Dr. MLK. Have a good one.